It's June, which is actually Pride Month. I got it wrong earlier this year in my calendar. I last year I missed it, and you'll know by my videos, which I did in July. I was like, oh wait, I just missed it, and then I wrote it down in the calendar as April because my brain is stupid. I don't know why. So yeah, I fixed that now, and then I kept forgetting to correct myself once I realized my mistake this June, because it's in June, and Pride Month's in June, and I'm pretty sure and I think it always has been. The way people are talking about it's all like it's changed recently. See, that's a bit awkward, but anyway, I now hopefully know for the future. I hopefully won't make this mistake again. That would be awkward if I do. The life goes on. I gave money to a homeless man today, and it was in a dream. And I only realized that doing it, I think I really, something told me that in the dream I had extra information. And the extra information meant that what I was doing wasn't actually good because the guy is just going to spend it on drugs. But I'm not sure because the guy seemed happy about it. But again, there was another guy who was upset and was asking for money and just came up to me randomly, like, pushing it. I didn't give it to him. And the other guy, he was very aggressive and stuff. And the guy that I did actually give the spare change in my pocket to was nice and kind. So maybe that was kind of what I was warning against, because like it wasn't like, oh, this is a bad thing to do in general. It's like, choose who you give it to. Choose who you give it to. But anyway, yeah, that's bizarre. Really bizarre. I'm noticing more things now. It does tend to happen when I'm actually thinking about it. And I'm splitting out for it, and hopefully more dreams will come. The next day, after I did the video on Monday, I actually had a dream, but I can't remember it, and it's actually the one that's more likely. Monday was probably more likely a nightmare, and on the next day, I can barely remember any of it, but it was kind of in that vague way that you'll only... I need to get better at writing my dreams instantly, so if I wake up, I'm going to try and just write my dreams down, and maybe relay them to you, because they're more likely to be the ones that are future told. I need to start trusting them. They're also the ones that freak me out less. But the ones that are nightmares freak me out because I worry that they might be real. Whereas the ones that actually end up being real are less freaky. Which is weird because sometimes in the moment they are freaky. Like the fact that when I was younger, my family had financial difficulties and I knew. And the reason I knew was because of my dreams. And then when Mum talked about it, I was like, yeah, I knew. And Mum was like, how did you know? I was like, I don't know, I just did. I think it made sense. I overheard you talking. I don't know, I just know I know. And that's what I'd said in the dream as well, but the dream had literally given me that information. It meant I was overly cautious about stuff and making sure I didn't waste money or anything because I didn't want to worry my parents too much. I've told them about my dreams, but I've never told them that. But yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that. We had church today. Church was fun. Church was, their new thing is paradoxes. It's paradoxical nature of the kingdom of God, and basically they're talking about paradoxes are things that seem contradictory, but actually aren't. I thought paradoxes were just things that were contradictory and somehow are reality. Oh my goodness. That is literally the Oxford Dictionary just put in different words. Okay, so no, I always understood paradoxes, but like I've always been heard of paradoxes in terms of time travel, meaning it's like if you're causing a paradox is a very bad thing, but it's like some people also say that paradoxes make sense and are actually fully stable. It depends. There are two schools of thought. Time travel is a very confusing concept and probably not possible. Well, like is possible because we are moving through time, but like going backwards in time, not possible. Going forwards in time, very easy. Backwards in time, people are like, these paradoxes are the reason it's impossible to go back in time because time travel gets very confusing very quickly. Anyway, all we know is it's the fourth dimension. And it's the reason we know more dimensions exist. So that's fun. And space-time is a thing that operates, and how you just demonstrate time is relative. Quantum mechanics and special relativity is fun, and I love learning about it. Like, I am a bit of a physics buff. Like, once I heard that it's weird. Someone tried to once convince me as a Christian that I shouldn't believe in the Big Bang because there's not much evidence for it. And all I could just think is half the reason scientists actually believe that God is real, and like half the evidence for, like, a lot of scientific evidence towards God actually being possible is the Big Bang, because it means it definitely proves that the universe had a beginning. And this person was like, oh, this proof. I was like, there's no proof of the Big Bang. I'm like, no, there's actually a lot of proof of the Big Bang. And the Big Bang being real is actually what points a lot to actually creationism as a thing, because it says that the universe was created. Before the Big Bang Theory came around, we didn't actually know if the universe had a start. Like, people just thought it was a static thing. Like, the fact that this is evidence and plausible tells us that things start. So, like, don't know what to do with you, honey. Anyway, I don't like people who are like, science isn't real, and then still believe in gravity, because I don't think people understand how science works, and that, like, they're like, evolution is false, and it's like, maybe, but it is currently it's the best scientific theory to have explain what's going on. And you might be like, well, God's real, and that's what I believe. And it's like, well, yeah, that's also true, but you can't prove that by science, and science is trying to prove itself. It's the whole point. Like, unless you can find a way of proving God, which is impossible, you're kind of gonna be on your own. Like, whenever, like, evolution is going to continue to be taught in schools, because it's the theory of how life came to be that is most widely accepted. You also note that the actual origin of point of life is widely debated, because we have no evidence for that. There are multiple theories going around, but the way origin of point gets to this, we think evolution. I'm sure it has some gaps, and scientists will acknowledge that, but one, I don't think biologists are either looking into it or don't care, because they're looking into, like, things like cancer and veterinary sciences and stuff, and, like, things that are actually modern day. Like, biology is, like, a lot of the stuff they focus on modern day instead of looking at the history of how things came to be. That history is how things came to be, more physics, and physics has no idea how biology works, so they're not going to touch it because biology is weird. This is like, we like numbers. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole another thing on its own. Yeah, so that's science in a nutshell. Science is real, or it's not real. But don't go around believing gravity and also deny science. Like, don't do that. Mainly because this gravity that you were taught in school was disproven by Einstein. It's almost correct, very, very close to correct, but if you're close to, like, even the sun is large enough to stop gravity, as most primary schoolers are taught it, working. That's why special relativity is a thing. Gravity mostly works in the way we're taught, most people are taught, the general population thinks it works, but, like, on fringe cases, especially, like, black holes and stuff, it goes wobbly. Just like space-time goes wobbly, and space-time being a thing. And I did not expect it to go in this direction. I was talking about paradoxes and how the church is one. And the church is not one. And has never been one. But, like, it's seen as a disloyal, nice thing, except it's not, because a lot of people are like, it was like, if we were talking about in church, I'm like, oh, that's a cute thing that people have. And all I can think is, I think the wider world's populace the view of the church is pedophilia, and it's like, yeah, that's also an uncomfortable truth, because Royal Commission discovered a lot of shit, and it's all true. And unfortunately, the Catholic Church has a lot to answer for, and also a lot of the other churches have a lot to answer for, and they're all talking. Basically, the whole conversation is on why churches shouldn't institutionalize, and they didn't bring up the biggest thing. The moment you institutionalize, the idea of getting sexual predators within your ministry skyrockets, which is really unfortunate. But also at the same time, if you don't institutionalize, there's no way to protect against it, which is all kinds of fun, because it's like, you can't, if you're not institutionalized, you can't prove that you don't have sex trafficking. But if you do institutionalize, it's confusing and difficult, and churches, and very least the Uniting Church has put a lot of time and money and effort into making sure it doesn't happen here. I can't guarantee other churches are, but they should be, but it has still happened, and it will probably still happen. You just have to be wary, very wary, and a lot of people have to be on guard, and people have to be regularly checked, making sure they're doing the child safety programs and stuff, because this shit happens. And ministers are seen as good people, therefore they're trusted with kids, therefore things can go wrong. And it's like, well, no, let's make sure you actually should be trusted with kids and not, and that way accidents don't fucking happen. Because because like, yeah, you might like kids, but we don't want you in jail, mainly because if you're in jail, it means you've actually done something wrong, and we would rather you not be in jail because you've never done anything wrong. And some people might disagree with this, but on the flip side, I think I would rather a child predator never end up jail because they've never actually been a child predator. Like, sure, they want to do that, but they've never had the opportunity to do that, so they can't end up in jail. And it's like, cool, well, on one hand, like, maybe it'd be cool if they could get to jail for their thoughts, but at the same time, they've never had the chance to act on them, and I think that's a much better outcome, don't you? Because that way the child never gets raped, and that's brilliant. Or sexual assaulted, or whatever. It's like, that's a bad thing that happens, and I probably should put a trigger warning on this one, because, yeah, that's a very heavy topic. It's Pride Month! And my friend, one of my cousins the other day called me a lesbian. And I felt uncomfortable about that. Because, like, there's been times when I'm like, do I only like women or do I like men and women? And I can't determine the two, but I'm like, I don't feel uncomfortable with me calling that. Like, the same way, like, the same way being called gay makes me icky. Because it's like, you only like, one, it's only same-sex attraction, and also, two, it's normally related to sex. Lesbian is probably less related to it. But at the same time, it's just like, that's, both of those terms are a bit icky. It doesn't help that I feel like I'm gender non-binary, but you know. But my sex is different from my gender, and that's all another can of worms. And I definitely, like, if you were, and, like, basically, if you're giving me a label, call me asexual, don't call me anything else. Like, I can, like, whatever's going on in the romantic situation has no label. I don't want a label for it because it's confusing and annoying, and I just like who I like, and, like, leave it at that. Anyway, but, like, it was really weird, because I just felt uncomfortable. I was like, how do I tell her that, like, I don't think, no, and then actually the conversation explained asexuals, and they were like, oh, I don't know if I fully like that, I want to try and prove you wrong, and it's like, you were fully supporting of me being a lesbian, but, like, the idea that I will never have sex, now that's a problem? Yeah. Oh, well. It's a step in the right direction. Everything's a step in the right direction. Things are weird. I didn't come out to them at any point. They were just assumed. It was a very weird conversation. Their fiance was there. And so she and him were talking, and then they asked me about crushes and stuff, and I said I like D&D people. Specifically Dungeon Masters, the game masters and stuff. And they asked me if they were hot, and I was like, I have no idea. I just like the fact that they can tell a really cool story. And then they said they thought Sheldon. I'm like, Sheldon's not a dungeon master. I'm talking about Brennan Mulligan or Matt Mercer, both of whom are married. Which makes me feel weird. And also, I kind of like Alexander J. Newell, who's also married. But I also like O'Brien Irongard. And then they're like, oh, there's some of them women. I'm like, yeah, one of them. Another one of them STEMI women, which is Leah Nicholas. She has actually run a campaign, but at the same time, I just like her because of her characters. But then again, her characters, maybe one of them, very least, might have given me gender envy. But I do like her as an actor and stuff. So yeah, and also she does have the same kind of thing of what I like in Dungeon Masters is the fact that they know lots of random shit and they know all the facts. Like, the better your Dungeon Master is, the more likely they are to know lots of random facts about a lot of random different things, and I think that's the most attractive thing, not just the being able to just make up random things about random facts about an entire world and build an entire world in their mind, because that's also really, really cool. I don't know why I shared this with you all, but I have. So this has gone. I don't know what the topic for this was going to be, but I feel like it's gone off topic. So yeah, that's the past 2 weeks in a nutshell. Um,